You now tuned in to the Gumptown Podcast. I'm your boy Doug B. We ain't got nothing to talk about, but we got something to talk about. Let's go. Good people. Welcome back to the Gumptown Podcast, episode 10. I'm your boy Doug B. If you tuned in to this podcast, thank you for your time and your attention. I really appreciate you giving this podcast a shot. Today's guest, I met this gentleman back in 2011 when we became co-workers over at the ESD. If you know, you know. Just always been a super cool, laid back, super smart IT professional. He is the president and co-founder of Quantum Investment Group, LLC, and I'm pretty sure you all will be inspired by his story. Let's give a warm Gumptown round of applause for Eddie Barlow. Barlow, what's going on with you, man? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, Mr. Barnett?
Man, all is well, man. First things first, I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to chop it up with me for a few minutes. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Anytime.
Yes, sir. So, for the people who don't know who Eddie Barlow is, tell them a little bit of your story, where you from, and how you got to where you are now.
Okay. So for those who don't know me, I'm homegrown, born and raised in Montgomery, Alabama. I went to Carver High School, class of 21. I think our motto was the only class that might matter or something like that. But left Carver. I was actually headed to ASU, and I just had a change of heart, and I ended up going to Trenton Tech. And it probably was one of the best decisions I ever made was to alter that course early. I think I was just going to ASU just because, it was always thought you graduate school, go to college, blah, blah, blah. A lot of my friends went to ASU at the time. And I just sidetracked. I talked to my cousin, and he was talking about tech school. And like, man, you're really good in IT, and you always doing this and that. You should do trade school. And, my parents, they didn't care one way or other. So I ended up going to Trenton Tech, and I majored in industrial electronic technology, which is kind of transformed information technology over time. And that was actually the best foundation for technology because we learned, everything from how circuits work all the way up into residential electricity. And, I kind of used that throughout and kind of got sidetracked along the way and got into retail a little bit. And I moved up pretty fast in there, and I kind of resettled myself when I got over on Gunner. A friend of mine, Darnell Fellows, he reached out to me about the enterprise service desk that the Air Force had. And he's like, man, you got to come join this, man. This is for you. And, they get you clearance and all this and that. And the rest is history. I've been, just going up and up from there. And that's kind of like how I got involved with mainstream DoD IT and just starting out and met a lot of my future business partners from that particular job until 2011.
Okay, cool story, man. And man, that's like you were saying, finish up high school, and we've been taught to go to college, but you chose a different route. And trade school is definitely, in my opinion, and I learned this after I finished school and got into the workforce. Trade school is definitely the best route for people who are interested in IT because you get more of a hands-on experience in terms of. I went to Alabama State. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed my time at Alabama State, but the one issue I had was the curriculum. You take all these unnecessary courses and you get a handful of courses in your field. So by the time you get out there in the IT field, you're somewhere green. So
right. You still green. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and me, don't get me wrong. While I was at Trenton Tech, I did spend a lot of time on the yard out there too. It was still the way to go. But yeah, like you said, like going to the, going that route, going through trade school, we was hands-on day one. And to me, the most important thing I did learn from trade school was troubleshooting. And that's kind of like where IT is today and the things that we do, for the government, even cloud technology, learning that foundation of troubleshooting, where to start and how to put any problem into a visual flow chart. That was the foundation of trade school because it was not, they was teaching you how to go out and fix and how to go out and, for like factory equipment. And we had a class called industrial controllers, which they small robots or small computers that run factory equipment. And so everything that we learn, even from the basic circuits all the way up to programmable controllers, was how to troubleshoot at every level. And that kind of like led on to the ESD when we started working at the Air Force Help Desk. We get a caller coming in or, calling, that's the first thing we want to know. When did this start happening? When did you notice this problem? When did this, what changed when this happened? And, that all came from that trade school background. We didn't even, the biggest problem in the world, if you can break it down into, trade school troubleshooting, you can solve it, no matter what it is. And that was the biggest benefit from trade school.
Nah, man, right on. Everything you just said is spot on. And and that's exactly why I love the trade school route for IT professionals, because like you said, to your point, you came out of trade school with an actual skill set instead of just a degree. And that's the one knock on going to Alabama State, that, like I said, I enjoyed my experience. I love the people that I met there, but you got the hands-on experience at Trenum. You came out with an actual skill set as well as a degree. So you were able to transition over to the IT world without issue. So that's a great story, man. Um, so let's talk about Quantum Investment Group LLC. What products and services does Quantum Investment Group LLC offer?
So the story of Quantum Investment Group is kind of more of it's kind of like all tied into that first meeting up at the ESD. And like I say, the whole troubleshooting aspect of the ESD was kind of easy. And I'm sorry if you hear the background noise. I'm in like in a conference room at a hotel. So,
Oh, nah,
but
no worries.
yeah, that's kind of how we started. I met a lot of the people in there, and I learned a lot of skills that we typically don't get to see growing up in Montgomery. You're either in an all Black community or a all white community, and then working in even HBCUs and colleges. I didn't go to Alabama State, but HBCU is predominantly Black, and trade school was kind of like a little mix, but by being in Montgomery, it was still predominantly Black. So working in the ESD, we were exposed to people, airmen, from different places, parts of the country, and even people that were retired military. And I always interacted with those guys, and learned a little bit, for this and that from them. And as we progressed and we all started getting our money right, some of the guys we always kept in touch. Like I think everybody that started at the ESD in 2010, 2011, I think we all connected still to this day, which is just the nature of how it was. So,
right.
As we got a little bit further along, we got together and some of the guys, Barton and Frank and Kendra, a few other people, some of the founders, we kind of got to the point where we were, like let's, put our money together and see if we can start building our own Shark Tank, so to say.
Right.
And it was kind of, we had about 30 people initially who were interested, pooling money, and some people were like, well, we just do it on my own. We don't need to do it as a group, which is true. But the thing we wanted to do was we wanted to aim high with little risk. And so
right.
doing it together as a group, we were able to pool our money, just a small amount, and maybe, invest that in commercial real estate or something like that. But long story short, how we got to the point where we are, the company that we originally reached out to help us, they didn't want to help us. They didn't have time to help us. They kind of basically told us, we don't really, like don't be calling us to make trades and all of this and that. The guy literally said, like, don't do this because we don't have time for that. And so we went with another company, and the other company said, yeah, we can do this for you. And if you all want to pool your money, you need to start with this amount and we'll manage it for you. So we was thinking we'll just put our money into, stocks and have, a broker manage it. And then when it got to a certain point, our goal was to go out to commercial real estate. And so they turned us, they told us all this, they sold us that, yeah, we can do this and that. But when we open our accounts, we got a, I got a phone call saying like, well, until your account get, a little bit bigger, it ain't nothing we can do for you. But, here go your username and password. you can manage it yourself until you get
Wow.
to the point that we can manage it. And so, I'm thinking like, well, man, I done got all these people together and everybody agreed and pooled their money, like I had to convince the people to join and now we can't really do it. So, I bought some books, I got with the people, started, watching YouTube videos and, we all know how stocks work. We all know how real estate and everything works, but, knowing a little, it doesn't really help in the bigger picture unless you're actively doing it on a regular. And that's kind of how we all got into investing in our group or whatever. So we went from just just putting the money in to actually moving money around every day. And the goal was we had a full part plan for Quantum Investing Group.
Mhm.
So the first part we was going to pool our money, and instead of putting it in a savings account, we was going to use the stocks. The second part was we were going to look for some commercial real estate and use that particular real estate, mainly office space and other things like that we can guarantee to get a little money from and put that money back to show positive returns for the business.
Mhm.
The third step is kind of proprietary. I can't tell you that. That's the money maker. But the fourth step and ultimate goal was to build a Shark Tank for Montgomery, Alabama, basically. And what we wanted to do with it was be able to help other entrepreneurs that actually wanted to get started. Say for your podcast, for example. So if you were new to the scene and you don't have a lot of money, banks kind of stingy when it comes to starting business. They give you money to do some reckless stuff, but I don't want to curse on the podcast.
No,
But
appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, man. Amen.
yeah,
Amen.
yeah.
Amen. Amen. We want the kids to listen. Appreciate it, man.
Right. So but the fact is, the banks they give you money to do anything reckless. They give you money to buy cars,
Right.
a house that you can't afford,
Right.
anything, reckless. But when it comes to starting a business, you'll find it's hard to get money to start a business. So we wanted to eventually, after we passed that third step, we wanted to be able to not only provide funding for people that wanted to start their own business, which is not hard to do. Like, we all got money, but
Right.
what we don't have is the resources to cultivate those businesses. So, somebody, everybody, it's a mom and pop restaurant on every corner, but
Right.
they'll open up for a little while and then they'll close after a few months, or this one will run for a year and it got good food, but after about a year they close. But the reason for that is, the person that run it, they know how to cook, but they don't know how to run a business. The people
Right.
that work for them normally family, but family and business don't never go together correctly. Not always. So what we want to do is offer them financing, but we also want to offer them our resources as far as business connections. We want to be able to get them sound business plans. We want to be able to get those supply chains right. We want to use our experience in technology for marketing and helping them get the right point of sale equipment instead of buying this, lease that, or instead of getting all of this furnishing and all for this new restaurant. Let's go over here and make the money and move it back over there. So we want to kind of give them our time, including money. If you understand what I'm saying, we don't want to just put them
Right.
out there and set them up to fail. We want to make sure the businesses succeed, and by doing that, we're going to take a piece of each business that we start. And once we get that money back into the group, we're going to continue to reinvest in the community until we get to, a bigger level. And that's the ultimate goal of Quantum Investment Group, is to be a Shark Tank for our community, and that goes with the resources and the money and everything else. And if you ever watch Shark Tank on the real Shark Tank for I guess CNBC with Mark Cuban and Mr. Wonderful on there, those guys, they take a share of a company for a piece of money, but the people that do the presenting, they already have all the financial information. They have the projected sales. They have just about everything you can imagine. And I'm sure they talk to, like CPAs, and they have people do the financing for them. We want to be able to provide those resources for the businesses that we help.
Mhm.
So we want to be able to kind of like, you got an idea? Well, show me your idea. All right, so I'm gonna pair you up with my business manager. He gonna help you put it on paper. All right, now y'all got it on paper. We're gonna pair you up with this finance guy so he can make sure that you order the right products and that you remain profitable. and we're gonna pay you over this person to help you get your budget for your restaurant, engage your traffic. We're gonna use technology to build your marketing and sales list, and that's kind of how we want to do it, strictly for Montgomery. Starting, we're not, you know, so just on Montgomery, but since we all from Montgomery, we found it there. We wanted to make our community the first focal point for our group, and that's kind of where we are now. We're on that second step as far as what we're doing. Oh, maybe backtrack. So we still kind of new, but we've been running for about 2 years, and since we all kind of tech related or in the tech field, when we started doing our own investments, we kind of focused on tech stocks. And this was just kind of like I wouldn't say a downfall, but it was kind of like slow your roll, because our investments that we made on our own, they outperformed like any metric that we could find. So we started doing so good on the stocks that we invested in initially. We kind of like, well, let's see how long we can milk this and see how big we can grow this pot. And that kind of slowed us down a little bit. But now we refocusing on commercial real estate on that second part of our plan. And, that's kind of where we at right now.
Wow, man, y'all are rocking and rolling over there, man. And that part that you mentioned about actually helping people get started in business and educating them and pretty much more or less holding their hand through the process, man, that's so dope, because that's what we need more of, man. A lot of us, we want to get started. We have the idea, like you said, the banks, they'll give you loan after loan to destroy yourself. But when you're trying to empower or improve yourself, they're stingy. That's wild, man. That's a great point you brought up. I never thought about it like that. Like,
yeah, if you try to get a business loan, man, you're gonna need all kind of statements, and you can get money from hard, like like how they do like the fix or flip for housing.
Yeah, hard money.
Some of those guys, they'll help out with a business if the idea sounds good. But man, I believe them guys they kind of mafia based. Cause I'd have had some of them. We talked to some in the past, and the one guy told me like, make sure you go fill out the paperwork today. And I'm like, well, I may not get to it today because I work a full-time job. I got some other stuff going on. Right. He called me back, said, hey, man, you better go ahead and do it. I'm running out of time. I'm running out of patience. Wow. I'm like, man, I don't really need your money. I just, but the hard money lenders, there's a lot of them out there, but you gotta kind of filter. And we try not to even go that route, because we built up a good relationship with our bank, and we want to, get to the point of we can leverage our brokerage account to do whatever we need to do, which, a lot of people don't, know. And that bring me to my next point, how we got started. That's kind of how we branched off into our investors education network. So, and, we do everything free. And that's, I tell people all the time, if I invite you to something, I'm not soliciting you for nothing. I don't need anybody's money. I need more millionaires around me. I need more, people thinking like me around me. So the people that we, run into, we have an education group out there. We provide, if I have time, if somebody want to start investing in stocks or crypto or real estate, I reach out to them. I got a friend of mine, Chase, went to school together. He real big in the real estate scene in Montgomery as well. And we put it out there. So a lot of people to be honest with you, they kind of shy away from it when you like, man, just come out and we'll help you. Yeah. And everybody, what's the catch? Like, what we need to do? What we need to pay? Like, you just the benefit to us. For prime example, I'm a name dropping. Guy worked with me, guy Jason Bibb. I met Jason Bibb in May of last year.
JQ.
And, met him last year. And so he came back from overseas. And so the team that I was on at the time, I was real high on my investment horse at the time. I was waking up at 5, reading this, reading that. So I told him, man, when you join our team, you need to go ahead and get your brokerage account set up, and you need to get your investments right. We're gonna be investing every day, and if we sit in the room, we're in a room with a bunch of people of other ethnicities. If you feel me, and they'll try to talk off your head if you don't understand what they're saying. They'll talk over your head, and they do it on purpose. I think they get kind of like a joy out of it, and that's kind of like what made me do a little more research, because I went, gonna talk over my head today and expect to do it tomorrow. because tomorrow I'm gonna know what you was talking about yesterday. And that's
Correct.
kind of what I told Bill. Like when we be in these calls and in these meetings, that's what the subject gonna be about. So you don't want to be in the room lost. And so Bill started, getting his information together. He opened up his accounts, moved his money around. And so me spending the time to teach him, he ended up getting back with me on a lot of investments that I would have missed out on. So, and that's what I tell people, like, if I can help you understand money and understand investing, of course you're gonna be an asset to me. So I'm helping you, you helping me, and we building a community. So the money that I would have missed if I was on my own, Bill made sure I got because he was looking at something that I wasn't looking at. And that's kind of like, that led us to that's the whole Investors Education Network, how we built that out. We want to make sure that everybody at least understands investing is 1,000 times better than saving. A lot of people got this, I don't know about your parents. My parents are older. So all they knew
Yeah.
was, save a little bit for a rainy day. Save it, save it. You got to save your money. But if you're saving, you only planning on being broke. If you got $1,000 in the bank, you cannot save your way to financial freedom. If I got
No.
a dime in the bank, the dime is working. It ain't in no savings account. In fact, from I want to say I read like a week ago, from December of last year to December this year, the inflation rate is expected to be like 5.8% or something like that.
Yeah.
So if you in a savings account in the bank, there's no bank paying 5% interest on those savings account.
No.
So so your your $1,000 is worth 5% less by December this year if you put it in there last year. And that's kind of like that's the whole point of the investment education group, and it's sponsored by QIG. And we hope to build more groups like ours. And the more groups we build like ours, the more we can network, the more we can help our community. And that's the ultimate goal. Like remember Jay-Z said, what's better than 1 billion now? It's two.
True.
That's the goal.
Nah, man, that's spot on, man. I mean, and like I definitely commend and respect what you all are doing, and I'll definitely get with you offline to get more information about what y'all got going on, what's upcoming, because and you just educated me on the company because I've seen you all, I see all the posts you have on Facebook and everything looks informative. I don't always get around to all of them, but now it sounds like you all are educating people because you all have already kind of gone through and studied and did the research. So you're more or less you streamlining the process of getting over to the investment side. And nah, I'm with you 100%. I was raised by my grandparents, and they taught me the same thing: save something for a rainy day, put a
Right,
few
right.
dollars under the mattress. But man, you ain't making no money because
Nah,
your money in the bank is just as good as having it under the mattress. It ain't doing nothing. So,
ain't doing
um,
nothing. And that's the hardest thing. And they like like in reality, our parents really didn't know. Like my
nah,
father, he's 74, so he was older when I was able to make money, and then even my uncles and aunts, a lot of people, they knew to put into their retirement account. You're supposed to do this so you can retire by this day, or put this money up so that way you can retire by the time you're 65. And but we're not living like that no more. We're not trying to work to 65 just to retire comfortably. We trying to break that down. We want to be able, when our kids graduate and we right at 50, we want to be able to go to college with them, in the RV, or what I'm saying,
yeah,
travel the world. We don't want to just live that old American dream, work, find your wife, settle down, work till you know what I'm saying? That just, but
yeah,
then, like I said, that's all they knew. And they really didn't have a lot of opportunities to do anything else. So,
yeah.
we that's the first thing we're trying to change. That's it's important to all of us. And like I say, we didn't know either. Like, I can't sit here and tell you that everything I know, I've been knowing for years. I learned everything I learned over the last 3 years. So,
Nah, man. I
if I had
mean,
known,
you don't know what you don't know, man. I mean to
right,
cut you off.
right.
You said if you would have known. Go ahead. My bad.
No, I was gonna say, if I had known, like imagine if we could have put this together in 2010 when we was at the ESD, or
Right.
like the amount of people were there, and granted, everybody wouldn't have been on board. So even now, we started out with 30 people, and we ended up with 11 people. And so, some of those other people, you got like the sideline watchers and you got the sideline haters.
Yep.
So you got
Yep.
people that watch from the side and they watching, but they want to be a part of it. So they tracking everything y'all doing, to see, like, okay, it look good, let me get in. All right, which is cool. I'm not mad with them. And then you got the
Right.
sideline haters. And the people like, oh no, it ain't gonna work. Oh, it's too many, too many of y'all, this, that, the other. And granted, it went all pizza in the beginning because you got 11 people, you got 11 personalities, you got a lot of, like, well, let's do this or let's do that, which to me, if everybody agreed with me, then I can't get better because I can only see what I see. If you
Right.
understand what I mean.
I
So
agree.
if you got, it's like if everybody agree with you, then you basically got, your way and 10 people saying amen or yeah, go ahead. But since we all got different opinions, we all got different ideas, that kind of keeps us on our toes as far as what we need to do next. Or, even like with the money, with the stock, like I said, we kind of slowed down. Our goals were, we was going to pool our money, we was going to branch out to commercial real estate. But, the vibe from some of the people in the group, like, well, if we making 30-40% back on stocks, let's slow down a little bit and let's see how long that gonna work. So that's kind of like, having somebody other than, having a yes man. Having a yes man, we probably would just cut bait and took that money and went on. But since, we had a different opinion, we kind of milking it and going from there. So
Yeah. Nah, man. I mean, nah, it's good stuff, man. And quantum products and services, man, that y'all are offering, man, those are some top tier services, man. Like I basically sum it up to you. You all are basically educating people on how to obtain financial freedom. That's how I got.
right,
That's what I got out of everything you just said. Is that accurate
right,
or?
right. That's 100% accurate. So our
Okay.
goal, as we educate people, we want to cultivate their businesses. We want to bring on other entrepreneurs that have an idea but don't have a business mind. We want to be able to, educate them. I guess in a sense, even the people that we bring on as entrepreneurs that want to start their own business, we still educating them on finances. At the end of the
Right.
day, because we teaching them how to run a business. And like a lot of members in our group, they have their own businesses. Some of our members, they got contract companies. They got, different fitness companies. There's a lot of different things that we have as a group. And then we got a lot of people that's outside of our group that we work closely with. We got CPAs, that we can call and ask questions that we don't know. Because we don't know everything. I don't
Nah,
know
man.
everything. I just know, what I've learned so far. So, and that's, I guess, when you put it that way, I guess that is our ultimate goal, is to be able to financially educate our community
Yes, sir.
and teach them how to invest and build their business and their brands and hopes to, build a bigger community of, I don't say millionaires, but that's the ultimate goal, is to be financially free. So
Nah, no doubt, man. No doubt. So it's three things I always like to cover on the podcast when I'm speaking with entrepreneurs like yourself. I like to talk about the aha moment, the action, and the audacity. So it sounds like, and you can add on if you want to, as far as the aha moment, you all just identified, hey, we need to. You know what? I'm not gonna answer that for you. What was the aha moment that sparked the creation of Quantum Investment Group? I mean,
so
because granted,
it was more of a,
cause granted, I'm going to cut you off. 'Cause granted, you said a lot, and I have an idea what the aha moment was, but I still would like you to verbalize like what sparked the idea to start the company.
so I think the idea, I think it probably been floating for a long time, but it was more, how we get complacent and we're making good money, and well, such and such, we don't really work in the same building no more, the same room or the same team, or I hadn't seen I hadn't seen Barnett in a while, so we
Right.
talked about that business thing, but since we're not in the room no more, well, we'll look at it later. But it was like, well, well, wait a minute, like it's 2018, like I see him every day on Facebook, I see his post on Instagram, so we actually more connected now than we ever been anyway. And so it was more like like, you know what, let's just do it. And, talking to my wife or whatever. And she was like, what's waiting on? Like she called me out on everything. It's kind of like how you got 11 opinions. Like yeah, it's a long story, but
Nah, no worries.
her thing is quit talking about it and go do it. And so I'm like, who you talking to? Okay, I'm finna go do it then. And so
Right.
like we reached out to I reached out to the members of the group, and I think for maybe like a month or so we talked to some of those members that didn't come along, and some of the people that said, well, I'm gonna wait and see how y'all do it, and then if I feel like y'all doing it good, then I come along with you. And I didn't take offense to it. It take a lot to offend me. So
Yeah.
and that's kind of like the yin and yang. My wife, she kind of like like, well, you dead to me, but I'm like, well, no, that's their opinion. It's not going to affect my plan. So I'm gonna keep moving forward. I can't have the negativity, affecting, what I'm doing. So once we reached out to everybody, and everybody said, this sounds like a good deal. It's something we should have been done, and it's definitely needed in our community. Let's do it. And I think that was our aha moment, was the fact that we realized nothing was stopping us but us. Like
Yeah.
why not do this? Like, what was stopping us? And that was history from there.
Man, you just said a mouthful in that. First things first. Shout out to the missus for holding you accountable. Shout out to my wife as well. She's the same way. Don't talk about it, bro. Do something. So, cause you know how it is, man. We said that we have ideas and we set on them and we contemplate, we thinking. So, that's good that you had that accountability partner in your household to say, hey, man, what you waiting on?
Right.
Go ahead and
Yeah.
get started. And yeah, man. The second point, the people who said, "Oh, we'll wait and see how it works out." Yeah, you know what? I have a very special message for people like that. If you out there and you've ever told somebody that, I hope when you do go back when they get the ball rolling, I hope they charge you 10 times, 10 times the fee because quite frankly, man, and like you said, hats off to you for keeping it moving despite the negativity, man. Because um and because like you said, we're the only people stopping us, man. So yeah, what an aha moment, man. And man, that's good stuff. And as far as the action from the time you all had the aha moment into putting into action to actually starting the company, how long did that take?
So from the aha moment, I want to say it was maybe like um it wasn't long after that. We actually counseled with some of our friend of the family. He's got a law firm in Montgomery.
Okay.
And me and one of the partners, we went and sat down with him, and just off the record type conversation. And he basically, said, this is what's gonna happen. This is the problem you're gonna have. And you're dealing with us, you gotta look out for this, and this. And when you start in business with us or anybody, you're gonna be more intertwined with them than you are gonna be with your own spouse. You gotta have all that out on the table, because you don't want to get a good deal on something and find out, this partner got something going on over there, or, you know, just stuff like that. And so, at that moment, he wasn't saying it to discourage us. He was more saying it to, like, this is you put it all on the table, everything he done seen over the last 50 years of his life, all the people that he interacted with, the people that have tried to get over on him and all this and that. And at the end of the day, it ain't gonna work unless you make it work. And it was a struggle in the beginning. We all agreed upon the amount of money that we wanted to put in
Mhm.
to start. We agreed the amount of money that we wanted to put in as a continuation, but we didn't want it to be confused with an investment club
Right.
in the long term, if you understand what I mean. Like, we didn't want to
Right.
just be, pooling our money buying stocks for life. We wanted to start out as a business with the goal of doing, the Shark Tank and commercial real estate. We wanted to start like that from day one. And that's kind of like, what we talked about over the next, 30, 90 days or whatever. And once we all agreed upon what needed to be done, what we wanted to do, and how much we wanted to contribute, personally, month to month, I think it was maybe like 90 days, and we went on, got it done, and here we are.
Wow. 90 days from idea to actually starting it. Nah, that's good stuff. And like that's the most important, man. That's so dope, man, because a lot of times, like I said, we get caught up on the idea and not execute. So hats off to you all for getting counsel in 90 days from idea to getting started, man. Nah, that's good stuff. And the last portion is audacity. It takes courage and audacity to step out there and start a business. Who or what influenced you all? Like, who gave you all the audacity? Who gave you the courage to step out there and start the quantum investment
To
groups?
be honest with you, like I think mainly like our children, and that's kind of like the whole conversation, from initial, just if the smoke pit talks and
Yep.
everything else, we want to like, man, we just can't keep working for everybody forever. We can't devote all of our money to a business because we already got people that depend on us. Like, a lot of people, if you're a single man and you want to start a business and you want to just put all your life savings into it and, hope it work, hope it don't, that's cool if you only got to feed yourself.
yeah. Yeah.
But if you got a wife, you got kids, and if you try to put everything you got into a failed business, you looking for trouble. You're gonna have to come up with some, what I'm saying? It's kind of, that's kind of like what drove us to it. Like, me and one of the partners was talking. He got 4 kids, I got 2, and some of the other members they have kids as well, and we wanted to make sure that we could do something now to set them up later, and not necessarily saying that we're gonna, it's this whole big thing. I know you've seen the little memes with Shaq going around saying his kids not rich and how millionaires and billionaires they don't leave their kids inheritance,
right.
which is true because if you give it to them, you make them weak. But at the same time, we wanted to be able to have a foundation of resources, which in our community we don't really have. We
We
wanted to be
don't.
able to build the network that they can use and take advantage of in the future as well. So not necessarily giving them money, but the relationships we done built, like even with like say Jason Bill, for example. Now we built this relationship with him. Now he might go over and do, he's a music artist as well. Now
Yep.
that we have cultivated that relationship, we building our own network of millionaires within our community, like, Bill Gates, Buffett, or Shaq may not have to leave his kids a dime, but it's people that know Shaq gonna owe favors to his kids, or they gonna want to do something for his kids for a favor from Shaq. That's a network. That's how the relationship works. So he ain't gotta leave his kids no money because there's a million people lined up for a favor. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like how we want to do. We want to put that network and that foundation in place for our children and our community, and each person we teach to be financially sound and financially independent and gain financial independence is going to recontribute to our community. And the stuff that we learning now, we teaching our kids already. We had a motto, maybe like I think it was like November, and we told everybody that joined our group. Matter of fact, I think we got some posts coming out on the 1st of November, and like how we get kids gifts and all for Christmas and all. The goal is this year for every member with a child to have an investment account, a custodial account for that child. And people say, well, we ain't got the time. We're giving free time to teach the people how to do it for their children. So that's the main goal for us, was to be able to lay a network that we create for our children, for their future, and for our community. And that's the goal. That's the ultimate goal, is to make sure that our communities and our generations are financially sound, even if they don't need to be rich. They just need to be financially stable, financially free, and do what they want to do.
Mm. Bingo. Doing it for the kids, man. Like that's man, generational wealth. And like you said, in our community, that's not something that that's something that we have to get better at, leaving something for our kids. And like you said, it's not even about leaving them money. The resources that you all are going to leave them is going to be way more valuable than money. The relationship that you all build right now. So nah, man, that's godly, man. I love talks like this, man. Like this is, man, this is seriously, man. Like this is the stuff that we have to talk about more often, man. I mean, because yeah, I mean, sports and all that stuff, music, politics. If you're into that, that's all cool. That's all fine and dandy. But the stuff that Quantum is doing, man, that generational wealth, man, that's hey man, that's what it's all about, man.
Right. And then even and I tell and we tell kids all the time, and my oldest son, he's been investing for about 2 years now. He's 13. So
Wow.
I got him started like a couple years ago. And in all transparency, he understands it, he knows it. I made him do it. That's kind of like, well, I know a lot of parents don't make their kids do this or that. But long story short, let me tell you a story that I had with a guy on Facebook. It was, he was going back and forth about, you know, why black people do this or why black people do that. Just to be honest, those his exact words. Like,
Mhm.
he don't believe that minorities are less able or less capable of doing anything than white people. And so, I'm the one, I love me a good argument, but I always fight back with facts.
Right.
So I went and got the numbers for him and show him that most of the business on it, I don't have it with me right now, but the America is 73% white, and Black Americans, of course, everybody know we spend the second most of all demographics, but we are the second most, or we actually the first most impoverished of all.
Mm.
So the conversation he was having, well, he was saying to me, is like, why didn't my father basically teach me about finances? Or why didn't, his father or whatever teach them about, money and how to start a business and all this. And so granted he was being facetious, but like I say, I love argument. I don't get upset about it. I come back with facts. And
Right.
so the facts show that most businesses are owned in the U.S., which is not even something I had to look up by white people. And
Right.
so most offices in America, most teachers in America, most anything that has any kind of resource in America is white. And that goes back to why financial education is not taught in schools, because if the majority doesn't need it, minorities need it. The majority doesn't need it because they have second, third, and fourth generation business owners. So the communication that they have at their dinner table is about business. If I'm sitting at the dinner table with my father and mother, they don't know about business, so we can't talk about that. So him saying that we don't need it or we should be able to talk about it amongst ourselves is arrogance, I guess, because we don't have the knowledge to even to do that. Like my father couldn't teach me that because the majority of America doesn't need that talk. A majority of America doesn't need financial education. The minority part does. We do. We the ones need it. We the ones that spend more than we make. We the ones that are the most impoverished, but we spend the second most in America. And so that's kind of how I got my son involved. He wasn't really interested in it. He still ain't really interested in it, but he understands it. It was more like do this because I said so versus do it because you want to. And so
Right.
once he started to see, like, man, dad made me buy these stocks and shoot, they done made money. I know I put $100 in, but now it's up to like 175. And so once they see the money making money and you did absolutely nothing with it, you ain't go to work for it. You just use that money to make money. That's changed our conversation to finances. Over the like I said, over the last 3 years, I haven't been doing this for my whole life. I just got what somebody told me, you're on your financial high horse right now, ain't you? So I said, sure. I've been on my high horse since, maybe 3 years now. So that changed the conversation in my house. And that's what we got to change in all our communities, in all our houses, is to be able to have that talk at the dinner table or to teach our kids at the dinner table. And that's what I can't say the majority of America don't want or doesn't see, but they is this illusion that everybody has the same opportunity. But if I give you a book that gives you the answers to everything in the universe, but it's in a language that you can't read, then I might as well just have handed you a blank book. You know what I mean?
Nah, I understand.
So that's kind of like the thought, like, well, if I did it, you can do it. Or if such and such did it, what's different than you? Y'all put your pants on the same leg, same time, or one leg at a time, whatever. So you should have the same opportunities, but it go back to education. If
Right.
we don't know, we can't teach. If we haven't been taught, we don't know. We can't go seek information that we can't even understand, and
Yeah.
that's like ultimately what we got to do, and that's kind of like how I started with my son, and granted he not gonna get it, and he not gonna understand or whatever for a while, but he gonna it's gonna resonate when it matters, and that's the ultimate goal.
Oh yeah, he said right now he's 13. So by the time he's my age, which is 33, by the time he's 33, it all makes sense what his pops was trying to teach him.
Right, right,
So yeah, man,
and he
keep
gonna
keep
he gonna
educating the
do
man.
it, yeah.
Don't Hey man, please don't stop there, man. I mean, like I said, there's nothing wrong with entertainment, playing sports, playing Madden, 2K, but financial literacy, man, that's something that we need to be more intentional about. Because see, the
Right, right,
thing, like you said, our parents did not have access to the resources we do.
right.
We have YouTube, we have Google, we have
Right.
access to the resources, and we have companies like Quantum Investment Group who are educating people, man. And so it's really no excuse. And quite frankly, hats off to you for getting your son started in the game right now. Because, like I said, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, it all makes sense.
Right. And
And
we're gonna keep on. We're gonna try to reach some other kids, and we kind of want to do like some giveaways in the future from our group to children, like donations and all. And we actually started to do some teaching for kids, but we ended up meeting another organization, Cool Kids Foundation, I think it is, and they actually already do that. So instead of us, trying to mimic it, we just kind of start sharing what they do, and we did put our spin on it. And the last thing on the kids, like the one thing as parents we got to do is change the way we teach them to save and invest. I know you'd have heard, and we didn't always heard, don't spend $200 on Jordans or Vapor Max or whatever, but it's not receptive if we do it that way. So for us, we have to change the way we, teaching kids. If you're able to buy $200 Jordans, or even if like the whole narrative that the poorest of the people buy the most expensive clothes and shoes, if we can get them to invest while doing that, they're gonna get the shoes. You can't stop people from buying what they want,
right.
but you can teach them to invest in the process, and that's the message that we teach. That's a little different than normal teaching. Like for my son, he really into the Jordans and all, but if you're gonna spend $64 on a PlayStation game, throw you $60 over there on your green light investment account. That's kind
Yes.
of like that to me is the most important thing that we got to change in our communities. We can't tell people do this and not that. We got to tell them while you're doing this, also do that. And once that money start to catch up, then they'll see it. If people buy $200 shoes, all right, well now buy $200 worth of Nike stock, or put whatever you can afford. Just make it a bill, or um, call it a personal tax or something. If you buy $200 on shoes, put $20 on Nike. Every time you buy the shoes, put 20 on Nike, and you make it a habit. And eventually, you're gonna see those numbers growing on the other side. So that's kind of like how we're trying to change it up a little bit.
Nah, man, that's great, man. Just overall shifting the mindset. That's the most important thing, changing the mindset. Nah, that's where it starts. So what's the long-term vision for Quantum Investment Group LLC? Like what's coming down the pipeline for you all? I know you said you all want to do more workshops, for the kids and things of that nature. Is there anything else that you can talk about right now that's coming down the pipeline?
So the our biggest thing I can't really speak on. So you got like a 4-step plan. So
No, don't do it if
that
you can't
third,
speak on
yeah,
it.
that
No, don't
that
speak on it.
third step is kind of that's the only one I can't really speak on. But the fourth step, like I said, is still to operate as a Shark Tank or like a loan, like a hands-on lender. Maybe that's a better word for it. I don't want to be
Okay.
throwing Shark Tank around and that's proprietary. So we want to be a hands-on lender for people that need capital for their businesses. That third step is going to be key, and it's something that's actually needed. It's something that's kind of focused on tech. It's lacking in our area right now as well. So I can't really speak on that, but
No,
that's
don't,
gonna
don't,
be
don't.
that's gonna be the big way.
Hey, don't speak on it. Just it sounds like the third step is about to fill a gap, fill a void that you
Right.
all have noticed. Nah, don't. Nah, nah, man, definitely don't. Hey, I'm looking forward to the third step because it sounds like you all about to fill a need, and that's how you really, that's how you get cooking, man. Like that's what it's all about. So basically, okay, gotcha. Long term vision is to be a financial resource for businesses.
Right. Ultimately, yeah, like an ultimate, resource needed. And if we get, big enough, maybe get listed or something else. But yeah, that's the ultimate goal is to be, those two steps in the middle, the commercial real estate, and that third step,
Right.
that's gonna kind of be what pays the members and funds the group and makes more relationships with other businesses. And so those two steps are key. The first one, like I said, is just not the first one, but the second one is just commercial, real estate. And that's kind of like, just to have like a steady cash stream coming in. And that third step is gonna be, key for everything in the future.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So as we wrap up and we come to the end of the podcast, man, I want to ask the $1 million question. I started this podcast to shed light on Montgomery because we have a negative stigma around our city. So I just wanted to ask you, man, what does Montgomery mean to you? Being that you are from here, I know that's a broad question, but what's one thing Montgomery has instilled in you that you've been able to use throughout your life?
So for me, I think is nothing and is everything, if that makes sense.
Right.
Is to somebody looking in or even the people that work in the surrounding area, it's just Montgomery. But if you got a home there, you got a relationship there, you got family there, it's kind of like, I could leave at any time. I got job offers from all over the country, but why take my vision to somebody else's city, or why take our vision to California or to Florida. So that's to me the stigmatism of Montgomery is not actually, it's false, and,
Right.
and
Right.
and that's
Right.
that's to be honest with you, it's kind of like if you look at some of the other areas, I don't want to name drop cities, but
Nah.
a lot of crime doesn't get reported, a lot of issues that may shine a bad light on certain areas. It's not talked about as much, and I think that's more of a understanding of the area, and that's one thing we got to do in Montgomery, which is I don't know how to do it, but like the news, it's a lot of positive stuff going on. That's got to take precedence over the negativity. Yeah, somebody got shot over there or whatever, but crime is normally isolated to a particular area. So
Right.
how I know you remember like Lil Wayne said, cops patrol areas that's high in crime. So of course they're gonna make more arrests in those areas. So the
Right.
news, no different with the news. Like if you just looking over here, you're gonna see something over there. If you go looking for it, you're gonna find it. But there's so much other positive stuff going on that should take precedence to change that stigmatism. And then even recently, I think like 3 of the schools in the city were ranked in the top 20 or the top 10 in the state, I think it was. And so that alone shows you that, the education is getting better. It's never been terrible as it will be seen. I've seen, like I said, I won't name drop other cities, but
Right.
people from other cities, they say, from time to time, if a kid ain't doing good, they recommend they withdraw. Like, me
Wow.
going through Carver and seeing, that's nothing that, out like really. So, some of these numbers ain't all they seem to be. And that's one thing we got to do to change that narrative. We got a lot of entrepreneurs in Montgomery. We got a lot of people doing good, and a lot of things that are available in other areas. They don't necessarily have in Montgomery as far as you got to work. That's one thing you're not going to be able to just live completely off the government in Montgomery, but people in other areas will think that.
Right.
I know cities right now where you can go your entire life and not have a job, but it's not like that in Montgomery. But the people assume or think that's how it is. But ultimately, for me, that's kind of like what I want to do. Is a lot of people that got business ideas or they started a business but it didn't work because they didn't know how to manage it. I want to make our community shine. I don't want to take my vision or our vision and go to Atlanta. I met people growing up, like they ultimate goal was in life to live in Atlanta. So even recently, I talked to a guy, he want to move. I'm like, well, what you look for, a job in Atlanta, or what's the goal for? And now there's just one, the goal was to move to Atlanta and then find work. But I try not to knock on anybody, whatever they want. If they live it, whatever. But
Right.
the whole live in a certain place or do this or do that in a certain place is ultimately on the person. And for me, I felt like what we need to do is fix our house first. We travel a lot, so if I want to go to we matter of fact we probably in Atlanta twice a month.
Okay.
So but our resources and our jobs have provided us enough financing to move when we want to. So versus me moving to Atlanta and being stuck in Atlanta, I can, call my wife or we can make an arrangement and we can catch a flight wherever. And that's, ultimately what we want to teach people. You need to be financially free to do what you want to do and not necessarily the popular option. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Nah, I'm tracking.
that's kind of like where we at. We wanted to, take that opportunity to bring our vision to Montgomery and talking to a lot of the realtors, and it's a little known fact. But since we started reaching out to some of the commercial real estate brokers and property managers in the area, like partners and other ones, one of the guys, he actually, a lot of them been very friendly. I try to be clear. I don't know much about commercial real estate,
Mhm.
but this is who we are and this is what we're trying to do. And a lot of them, they're very helpful. And they mentioned some of the companies out west and some of the companies in Texas and out west, they buying a lot of property in the area. They opening up a lot of business in the area because they already have done what we were trying to do. And that's why hopefully we can get more of our type organizations established in the area so we can take back our communities and give it back to our people, even convenience stores. And we can get, some of those convenience stores back into our communities. We plan on offering dividends to the people that invest. And that's something that, I can't say that it has been done, but I haven't checked every area. But if you live in a community and you patron a store, you should be able to get a return off of it. And that money should go back into your community. And we want to set that up as well. That's part of step 2 of our plan. We want to be able to not necessarily crowdfund convenience stores. We want to make it to where the community or the people that invest in that store, they receive dividends, just like some of the bigger investments. We invest in this company called, you ever heard of Top Golf?
Yes, I've heard of Top Golf. Yep.
So Top Golf has a competitor called Golf Suites. And Golf Suites is just the exact same thing. However, they also offer golf lessons and private, sessions and stuff like that, which Top Golf may offer something similar, but their approach for everybody that invested with them, they give dividend checks and they give them monthly. And so, after we talked with them and we made our investment with Golf Suites, we're thinking like, me and I think maybe this was can't think maybe it was Dustin or somebody. We was talking and like if we get these convenience stores in a community and we solicit the people in the community to invest in their own convenience store, and we cut them a dividend check monthly or yearly or whatever we decide on, that is to me the definition of taking back the neighborhood or taking back the block or buying back the block, whatever the movement is. Like
Right.
it doesn't get any better than that. You're making dividends off the corner store in your own neighborhood, and that's you know that's part of that second step of generating that income. And you know that's what we need to do, and we want to do that in Montgomery before we go anywhere else. And we talk to people in other areas, but we want to start in our own community before we try to go anywhere else with it.
Yes, sir. Nah, man, that's great stuff, man. And so to answer that question about what Montgomery has done for you, basically, it provided you with a vision, and you wanted
Right.
to take that vision and keep it at home instead of taking it to Atlanta and California.
Right. Basically, yeah. We wanted to keep that vision here, and we wanted to make sure that our community was served before we start serving anywhere else. They gave me that, seeing that we needed that in our community, and not having it readily available, we wanted to make sure that we could do that at home before we, started taking it, to the popular places.
Yeah. Nah, man, that's powerful, man. And so how can the people connect with you? What are your Facebook and IG social media handles?
So Facebook, I got a few of them. So we got anybody that want to, for the actual education, we have the Investors Education Network. Anybody that want to learn about investing, anybody that want to get, just get started or just need help. We got people in there. We got CPAs. We got everything in there from music artists to other business owners. We got a lot of people in there that do just about everything. So, Investors Education Network on Facebook. Also, my regular Facebook is just Eddie Barlow, and my IG is E Barlow Jr. and the number 2. And we also, all my business and all our group businesses, they all link to all those pages as well. So you hit any of those, you can find us and link up. Our QIG page is kind of private. It's kind of we do have a public page, but it's not used. It's more of a placeholder for the future. But our actual group is just private for members right now. But as we, continue to grow, we will move people over that want to get involved a little deeper.
Okay. All right. And of course, I'll put all of the information, the contact information in the description of the episode. Hey, Barlow, man, thanks again for taking time out of the schedule to chop it up with me, man. This was a very valuable conversation.
Well, thank you for having me. I look forward to doing some more stuff in the future.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Will do. Well, good people, that concludes another dope episode of the Gumptown Podcast. We gone, but before we leave, remember, be blessed, be safe, but most importantly, have the audacity to be you. Gone. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate your time and your attention. Until next time.